Kevin Nash came for Logan Paul's whole life, and Logan Paul clapped right back, setting the stage for the pro wrestling beef nobody asked for, but everybody wants now between Paul and Nash. Kevin Nash's words sound like the rhetoric from an old school wrestler who's jealous of Logan Paul's success in WWE. And that's exactly what's happening. We'll get into that soon. While on his Kliq This podcast, Nash questioned if Logan Paul is truly one of the boys.
You don't become one of the boys just because you're around him. That, from what I heard, he's making like $5 million for a limited, and those other are out there making house shows. You. You. That's from the boys. You.
That's from someone working the road schedule. I don't give
a how many people are following you. All that means, man, is if it said you had 24 million Rhodes scholars following you, man, I would be like, dude, you are Jesus. You got a bunch of idiots.
Always one for the smoke. Paul came back at Nash heavy. Check this out.
I got people messaging me. They're like, yo, Kevin Nash is talking shit about you. I said, damn. Who is Kevin Nash? And I mean that. I'm unfamiliar with this guy, which I think is his problem. I'm not as versed in the WWE and in wrestling as maybe I should be, as my peers are. But then how am I so much better than all of them? You know, I don't have the answers to these questions. It is a question. I don't know how I could be the best in the WWE or at least one of the best. Like, I'm surely a top fiver, and I don't even do it full time. Now imagine if I did learn a little bit. Imagine if I devoted, came one of the boys, learned what the difference between a shoot and a work was. Will that make me a champion? Fuck me. Fuck you. You're one of the old guys who is bitter that I am better at your job than you ever were. And that makes you pathetic. This will be my sport, and I will continue to make guys like you eat your words when I devote a little bit of time to it. So fuck me, fuck you.
Bars, nigga. A true heel promo, because as much as I do like Kevin Nash, there's some truth to what Logan Paul is saying. In fact, as a complete package of a pro wrestler, Paul is better than 90% of AEW's roster and at least 95% of its main event. Logan Paul don't gotta do a skinhead reboot to force heat onto his character. All he has to do is be Logan effing Paul, and you've never seen a building boo so loud. Whether or not Logan Paul versus Kevin Nash is a work or a shoot, it'll probably manifest itself into something on camera, because most wrestling beefs, even the real ones, become part of a storyline. Just look at Bret Hart's return to Raw. After years of Bret Hart burying Goldberg in real life, most notably to yours truly in 2016, Gunther cut a promo on the Hitman by saying Goldberg is his favorite wrestler. The next time SmackDown is in Detroit, I need a Kevin Nash versus Logan Paul celebrity boxing match. Kevin Nash criticized Logan Paul for making millions of dollars for limited work, a concept in pro wrestling made famous by Kevin Nash. The greatest wrestlers of all time, from Brock Lesnar to Randy Orton, know exactly how to do more with less for the most money. In fact, it was Hall and Nash who innovated the pay structure for wrestlers by creating the Favored Nations clause when they were signed by WCW. Favored Nations mandated that Hall and Nash's salary would match that of the highest paid WCW free agent. Nash used to bury, quote, vanilla midgets who do flippy matches in the mid-card for little monies. By the way, vanilla midgets is an offensive and outdated term. The politically correct term is AEW wrestler. It's 2024, guys. Kevin Nash looks at a guy like Logan Paul who gets millions of dollars for limited work and says, I started this gangsta shit. Because now that WWE finances are at record highs, not to mention all that Saudi money, Paul is probably making as much money to wrestle as Hall and Nash combined for half the work. Logan Paul is threatening Nash's spot on the Keep Getting Them Checks Hall of Fame, and Nash is furious. Can you blame him? Of course, Nash is best friends with WWE COO Triple H, so politically, Logan Paul picking a fight with the Diesel is a terrible idea, right? Wrong! I don't not see there being any repercussions with Logan Paul for burying Nash. Pro wrestling will always be a petty business, but in terms of pettiness and being punished for saying the wrong things about the wrong people, the new generation of WWE is a shell of what it was when Vince was in charge. Plus, the new WWE is more concerned with going mainstream than it ever was under Vince McMahon, and actually that's a high bar. WWE is headed to Netflix. They're recruiting good-looking, shredded college athletes through the NIL program. Even NXT is going to network TV to be in front of more eyeballs. Logan Paul is mainstream, and nobody knows that more than WWE co-president Nick Khan. That's why not only is Paul featured as a top star in WWE, his Prime sports drink is a major WWE sponsor and the first ever sponsor to appear on the ring mat. WWE is in too deep with Logan Paul to bury him over some backstage heat bullshit. And with Nick Khan and Logan Paul's corner, WWE's agenda to go mainstream will keep Paul safe, even if Triple H wanted to be petty and, I don't know, have Logan Paul lose to Ricky Gibson in 10 seconds. This isn't the old boys network WWE used to be. And if Logan Paul wants to call out Kevin Nash for being a better wrestler despite doing it part-time, Kevin Nash and the Kliq can do two things about it: nothing and like it. Besides, Logan Paul has all the leverage in a situation like this. If WWE decides to get petty with Logan Paul and bury him, Paul can just quit. WWE doesn't necessarily need Logan Paul, but he certainly doesn't need them. Paul has one of the biggest podcasts in the world and several revenue streams that'll keep him paid with or without WWE. The irony with Logan Paul is that he represents everything Vince loves about celebrity wrestlers. A big name from the outside world who can wrestle, get heat, and cut a damn good promo. Logan Paul is somebody who can transcend WWE through his enormous social media platform. At the same time, Paul is everything Vince McMahon kept his own talent from being. That's why Vince banned talent from having third-party deals and micromanaged anything they did outside of WWE. Because the type of leverage Logan Paul has allows him to get away with more without having to respect anybody's authority. Kinda like Kevin Nash when he smooth-talked his way to becoming a booker in WCW. Game recognizes game, and Kevin Nash's comments about Logan Paul are nothing more than projection from one great worker to another. Anybody who gets into the wrestling business needs to study the careers of Paul and Nash, two wrestlers who deeply understood that the operative word in the term wrestling business was the word business. CM Punk famously said that
if you're more happy with some goof saying that you had a 5-star match and the building's a quarter full, we're not in the same business.
Thankfully for Paul and Nash, they're in the same business as CM Punk, and they have a lot more in common than their current beef suggests. Check out this video and subscribe. Are you Team Paul or Team Nash? Tell me in the comments!